What's going on, everyone? Eric here. Hope you're all doing good today. In this video, we're doing something a little bit different. We're talking about an automatic coffee brewer, right? So, I mean, a lot of people, I'd say most people who make coffee at home have a coffee brewer, and there's all different levels of those. There's the $20 ones that you'll buy and make coffee, and they're fine, and I think a lot of our families have those. And we have the ones that are like top tier, something like the Fellow Aiden, and then we have legendary ones that have been around that seem like forever and are tried and true and tested, and like things like the Moccamaster series. Now, for someone like me who really enjoys coffee as a hobby and loves to make coffee by hand, they don't appeal to me much. I understand the convenience factor. I understand also the how nice it is sometimes to have a big pot of coffee when you have visitors or guests or a brunch happening, but I really enjoy making coffee by hand. That is to be said, some people still need a coffee maker, all right? It's just how their routine works. And what I want to find out is this guy that looks a lot like a Moccamaster, right? The Kismile coffee maker right here. Is this anything like a Moccamaster, or does it just look like one? So let's go through it really quick. I should mention right at the top of this video that Kismile did send me this brewer in exchange for me making a review about it. Of course, I have control of the review. I get to say good, bad, great, horrible, I don't know, whatever I want, and that's it. They've sent it to me, and thank you for taking that risk. And now I will dig into it. It has an aluminum alloy body. So the body part, this whole thing right here, is all aluminum alloy, which is nice, a little bit sturdier build, a little bit better quality. That is comparable to a Moccamaster. A cool function of this guy is that every piece of it is removable. The water tank is removable, which is not the case for other coffee makers that look like this. Also, you're basically, the whole brew unit here comes off. Everything just comes off and comes apart, which is nice. You know, it is good to be able to take everything apart. And these pieces here, all these things that I have put in front of me, are all machine washable. So if you have kind of a fast-paced lifestyle, you can throw these in the dishwasher when you're at work and they'll get good and clean, which is nice because not all of us have time to do that hand washing stuff, right? All right, while we've got it off, we're gonna talk about a couple things. Number one is when you take off the brew unit here, this guy here, it's going to have an automatic stop function. So if for whatever reason you yank this guy off, it's gonna stop brewing, which is good. All right, so that's a good thing about it. Another thing is that if you do remove if for some reason you couldn't wait for this to finish brewing and you took this guy out here to pour a cup, it will stop dripping, more or less. I mean, it's gonna stop dripping as much as it can reasonably. It's gonna stop. And it's still gonna be flowing water into the top here for the brewing, but it's not going to drip much onto your heated plate. And yes, this is a heated plate, so that will keep your coffee good and warm. You can also toggle that on or off if you want to. Okay, so the next thing to do is talk about how it brews, right? You've got kind of a gentle shower style head here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little ports, and it's gonna drip pretty much centered over the middle of your coffee. And it could be a little bit wider for me, I think, if I was being picky, but it is adequate and it has a relatively slow drip rate. It's not flooding the grinds, so that is a good thing. As far as filters go, it takes the standard Melita number 4 style of filters. It gives you 3 of them to get you going so that when you buy it, well, you can start brewing right away, but you can use those. It also advertises that you can use Hario V60 filters, or you could use Kalita Wave filters. I have given it a go with a Hario V60 filter. Though it was a little bit small, I was able to brew a single cup and it went okay. Though I was a little bit nervous of the grinds coming over the top. As long as you watch it and you have everything set up properly, you can do that. Is it optimized for other filters like V60, etc.? I would say no. It's definitely more designed for this kind of cone shape with the kind of boxy bottom to it. It just fits in there really well. That is the way to go in my opinion. So here's a way that it differentiates itself from the pack. One of the things that makes it different than all the other ones, this has got a fast heat up system, all right? This guy pretty much flash heats the water. As soon as you turn it on, the water is hot within 3 seconds. It doesn't need to be warmed up or do any kind of preheating. It does start heating the water very quickly. There is a caveat to that, and that's for more coffee nerdy style people, and I will get into that in a moment. One of my favorite features about this machine is this little flow rate controller here, where basically you have a good deal of control over how quickly the water is going through the grinds. As for me, for the grind settings, I have been keeping my grinder set to about the same grind settings as I do for a manual pour over in V60 and seeing how that went. And though the flow rate compared to when you're not in control is a little bit faster than I would go with a pour over, I've found that this guy right here has given me a degree of control to still optimize my brew performance. And I will get a little bit into why I like this a little bit later as well. And I think the next feature that kind of makes it stand out is that it does have a cold brew function, where if you wanted to, you could brew cold brew on this and it will optimize the water flow rate for that as long as you have the right coarseness of coffee. I haven't really gotten too into that. It is deep in the winter here, but it does have a cold brew function, so it will not heat the water. It'll do a gentle drip of room temperature or cold water, depending on whatever you have in this tank. All right, so that's the basics of it. Now, what do we want to know? The most important thing we want to know is, does it make a decent cup of coffee? And the answer is yes, it makes a decent cup of coffee. However, if you are a specialty coffee kind of person, if you are the kind of person who's buying, $20 bags of coffee with 12 ounces in them, if you are the kind of person who drinks light roast coffees, if you are a boutique coffee lover, you probably will not be at all impressed with this, because you get a better cup of coffee from a pour over when you're in control and you're controlling the variables, and you're controlling the variables of the valuables, and you're controlling the flow rate, and you're doing all these things that will really, really make those more delicate coffees sing. This is really optimized for medium roast and darker roast coffees. And I've been doing a lot of medium roast in it, and I found it's very satisfactory. It tastes like a medium roast should. I'm not getting a lot of nuance. I'm not getting a lot of subtleties from the coffee, but I'm getting a good cup of coffee that I would be happy to get at a friend's house. If someone served me a cup of coffee, I would find nothing wrong with it. Okay, so the takeaway here from this quick review part is that it is a sturdy machine. It works well. It is gentle enough to brew a coffee without just dumping a bunch of random water on there like a Mr. Coffee machine would, and then kind of just like letting it do its thing. If you are using quality beans of the medium roast to darker roast variety, you're gonna very much enjoy this as long as you're not looking for subtleties, and you're gonna get up to a pretty big pot here, a nice 10-cup pot of coffee here that you could serve to guests, and it looks nice and it's aesthetically pleasing and everything's easy to come apart and wash. All in all, yes, it is a very, very nice coffee machine, comparable to a Moccamaster. If this is the brewer for you and you are thinking about buying one, consider using my affiliate link down in the description. That helps support the channel. That's basically how I can keep this channel going. So thank you very much for your support. Now I'm going to get into the dorkier side of things and what I do like about it and what I don't like about it as a full-fledged coffee nerd. Okay, so the thing that I noticed is, though it does heat within 3 seconds, that is 100% true. It does, those first 3 seconds are cold water that are coming out of here. It's heating as it goes, and for me, I know it's only 3 seconds of cold water, but I prefer to preheat the system. So I will put a little bit of water in here. I will put my filter in here. I will run that, whatever, 100 milliliters of water until it gets nice and hot, rinses out the filter, gets this nice and hot, dump everything out, and then I will start my brewing. And when I do that, I feel more comfortable with the machine. The temperature range is about between 195 and 205 Fahrenheit. So yeah, you're gonna get a well-extracted cup of coffee, but when you're talking about specialty coffee, when you're talking about coffee nerds, when you're talking about precision, you're not gonna get that from this machine. If you just want a good cup of coffee, you definitely are in the temperature range for that. So the next thing about it is that it doesn't have a blooming period. It doesn't gently put some water down there and then pause for, let's say, 30 seconds and then continue the water flow. It just kind of gives you a continuous, slow, steady shower of water, which comes out at a decent rate, but it doesn't give you blooming time. As someone who is a coffee obsessed person, I really do want that blooming time to let that fresh coffee that I bought degas. So what I've been doing is I have been manually pausing it and then starting it again, giving it a good 30 seconds to a minute to bloom, and that works fine. The next thing I will say is that for me, the flow rate is a little bit fast. This is a little bit more, a larger filter than the V60 that I usually use. This is a little bit wider of a cone, so things go through kind of fast. And at first I was like, well, this is no good. But then I started playing with this flow rate controller, and I actually was starting to enjoy this a lot. Now, I don't know if you've heard of a clever dripper. A clever dripper is a device that takes the benefits of immersion brewing, right? So something like a French press, or something like if you're at a cupping table in a coffee lab, where you're going to fully submerge the coffee in water and let it soak, and then you're going to afterwards use some method to take the coffee out of those grinds. We're not going to get into the details, but of a clever dripper, basically you have something like this, right? And it is actually very similar. And you will put your coffee in, you'll put your filter in, you'll put your coffee in, you'll put your water in, you'll maybe give it a little stir, you'll put the lid on there, you'll set a timer for however long you want it to steep, be it 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then you will open up the device and it will go into your vessel, right? That is a great way to get the benefits of immersion-based brewing with the clean taste of a filter. And what I've been doing now is I've been treating this like a clever brewer, like an automatic clever brewer. So what I'll do is I'll pull this guy all the way over to drip stop, I'll start my brew, I'll pause it, I'll give it about a minute to bloom, and then I'll start things up, and then I'll keep my eye on it while I'm doing my things, making toast, buttering bread for the kids. And when I see it get close to the top, I will pause it, usually wait about a minute, sometimes 2 minutes, depending on my mood. And then I will open up the dripper all the way, and then I will start the rest of the cycle. And I find by doing that I'm getting a full-bodied, very, very great, nutty, chocolatey, medium roast coffee, just the way I would want it to highlight the notes of that particular coffee. So this is kind of something like an automatic clever drip. Caveat here, if you are not a coffee nerd and you bought an automatic coffee machine, you probably don't want to be kind of babysitting it and fiddling with it every minute. Now, it's not a lot of fiddling, it's just a moving this and moving that and pressing the button and pressing the button again and keeping my eye on the clock. So it's not an active process, but that is the way that I've been getting decent cups of coffee out of this, or I should say good cups of coffee out of this. And I have really, really enjoyed that process. Another thing that I like about this as a coffee obsessed individual, I do like that it can remove this water tank, because I can put it right on my scale and I can weigh out the water. And then I know that I've got my 30 grams in here. And even though I was originally using my recipe of 500 grams, I've found that because I'm getting so much more extraction by doing the immersion method, that I bumped this guy up to actually closer to 650 to get a lot of coffee out of the coffee. Anyway, here is a critique as for a coffee machine, as a coffee person. Now, most of us do our measurements in grams of water and milliliters of water weigh the same. That's the same thing, right? 100 milliliters of water is 100 grams of water. On the side here, you have ounces, you have cups, like American coffee cup sizes here. I would love it if they had milliliters as well, because then I wouldn't have to either memorize which line or weigh it out. That would be helpful. So that's a little critique. Okay, so breaking this down, final verdict. How does this thing stack up? It is a very nice coffee brewer with a well-built body, with some nice functions, fast heating, and control over the brew process. Overall, for your person who wants a better brewer than most, that is solid and reliable. Also the cold brew function, that is a more modern take on this kind of Moccamaster. The heat bypass, that is a newer thing that Moccamaster does not have. At this point, I think this would be a good option, though of course Kismile is a newer company, so I always like to put out a warning as far as longevity of a company. That does matter. You want to know that the company is going to be around in 2, 3, 4, 5 years in case anything goes wrong, to help you with the product, right? The caveats, of course, are if you are a specialty coffee aficionado, if you are a coffee nerd, it does not have a lot of control over the settings. It doesn't have temperature control. It doesn't have blooming time control. It's just a very basic, gentle brew cycle that works well. If you want to game it and you want to play with it, it is still a very, very adequate brewer. So if you visited somebody who had this brewer and you were like, hey, can I brew this? And you want to treat it like a clever dripper, then I think you would have a lot of fun with it. I certainly have been. I hope that helps you with your decision if you are looking into this brewer. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.